You own Amazon stock and never been to Seattle. You own
real.
Nike stock and never been to Oregon. So your money does not have to work in the same city as you do. Real estate, it's a game where you have to play it. You can't read about it. Just like if I gave you a Gordon Ramsay cookbook, that don't mean you can cook like Gordon Ramsay, right? You can read the book and flip through the pages and get the ingredients all you want, but that don't mean you can cook like him. It's something that you actually have to get your feet wet. What most people don't know is that many real estate agents don't own any real estate.
I think you're probably one of the best I've seen when it comes to money mindset.
We've been taught and programmed to put money in a piggy bank. My employees are Washington, Franklin, Hamilton. Those are my employees, but a lot of people, their employees are just lazy, just sitting there in a bank account doing nothing. People fail to realize that success is boring.
But I love what you said about looking there. I feel like a lot of times too many people are trapped by their zip code.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm originally from the DC area and I live in Atlanta now. So you could be in somewhere like New York, DC area, the Bay Area,
Yeah.
where you say, well, it's too expensive for me to get into real estate.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's too expensive everywhere.
Facts.
And a lot of times I talk to people from California, for instance, they would be shocked that you can go to another state and pick up a duplex, maybe a quad for $100,000,
Facts.
$150,000. They're like, where I live at $100,000.
Don't get you anything, right?
You know, won't get you anything at all. So how important is it for us? Or like, is it possible? Is it not possible? Is that hard for your average person listening to get something that's not in their area?
No, it's not, because we do it with stocks all the time, right? You own Amazon stock and never been to Seattle. You own Nike stock and never been to Oregon. So your money does not have to work in the same city as you do. We've restricted our real estate search to where we can drive and when we can go to open houses. But when I bought my property in Oakland, I've never set foot in my property in Oakland, right? But I knew the neighborhood, I knew the numbers, and I had an agent on the ground that I trusted. I bought that property for $480,000 in November 2017. January 2021, it had appreciated to $730,000, right? This is the power of knowing this methodology and knowing that your money does not have to work in the same city as you do. It frees you up to invest anywhere where you go. So people ask me all the time, Julian, what are the great markets to invest in? I don't give people a list of cities. I say the first market you should try to invest in is where you live. That's going to be the easiest, right? Because you're physically there. It's also going to eliminate your housing expense. The second market I encourage people to invest in is where you're from. I'm from Oakland, so I decided to invest in Oakland. I wanted to make sure that Oakland had Black ownership because I already know the gentrification or what I actually call colonization is happening there. Then invest wherever you want to be a contribution. I wanted to be a contribution in New Orleans, so I invested in New Orleans. And then the fourth place I tell people to invest is wherever you can make money. I've never invested particularly in that way. I've invested in the first three ways. So that is the order that I encourage people to look for. And so some people are now living in big cities, but they're actually from some small city in Arkansas.
Right.
Take that big city income, right, and that capital and deploy it in a smaller, less expensive market where the cost base is going to be a lot less than what you're paying for housing where you are. And so now your money is multiplying in that way. And it's a really powerful way to get your money to work for you without you working for it.
I love it. And many times those small cities are the ones that's next. They're the ones that's bump like a Huntsville, Alabama, or some of these other places where, you know, the first people with the insight on those places are the people from those places.
Exactly.
And I felt like even in me and Ronnie's journey, so many times we would see opportunities that we knew something would blow. Like we know when they building that, you know, that development over there, it's going to be worth way more, but we never took advantage of it. We never got started. You know, for people that are listening and they need to just get going, because you talked about the importance of that first deal. Like what is it that gets them from, okay, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to actually like, I'm taking the steps to actually become an owner?
Right. Well, real estate, it's a game where you have to play it. You can't read about it. Just like if I gave you a Gordon Ramsay cookbook, that don't mean you can cook like Gordon Ramsay, right? You can read the book and flip through the pages and get the ingredients all you want, but that don't mean you can cook like him. It's something that you actually have to get your feet wet. And the easiest way to get your feet wet is that first play where you house hack and you're living in one unit while the other units are actually paying the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, capex, repairs, or a vacancy rate. That's the easiest way to get your feet wet in real estate. And I also encourage people not to simply rely on a real estate agent, right? Because what most people don't know is that many real estate agents don't own any real estate.
That's true. I never thought about that, but that is absolutely
crazy.
True.
And here we are saying, oh, I need to find a real estate agent, and we're giving over the biggest financial decision of our life to someone who does not even own any real estate themselves, right? And does not have the wealth that you desire. right? I only work with agents who have multifamily real estate themselves, or at least know how to calculate cash on cash return. Cash on cash return is the most important number when it comes to multifamily real estate investing. And guess what? It's not even on the real estate exam.
Wow.
It's not on the real estate exam. Most real estate agents are in the business of selling single family homes to American dreamers. So rather than being passive about the biggest financial decision of your life, I really encourage people to go get educated and then run that first house hacking play, right? Where they are now in one play, you've gotten rid of your housing expense. You now have an asset. You're now generating passive income. You now have tax savings, right? All in one single move. Right? There's no other asset that you can buy that can do all of that for you. Like, you cannot live in your stock portfolio.
That's true.
Your stock portfolio is not going to eliminate your housing expense. And so this is the power of this initial play. And then from that initial play, it actually frees you up to dabble in any other asset classes that are out there, like stocks, crypto, etc. But make sure that you have this foundation set. This should be the first business in any family.
I think you're probably one of the best I've seen when it comes to money mindset. In helping people break down false beliefs around money mindset, helping retrain, right? Or actually, you had a whole course around with your book, right? It was around kind of reprogramming the mind.
Yeah.
Around money. I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because so many times what we've seen just in life is what generationally has been passed down to us. Generation what we've been taught.
Yeah.
And if we've been taught the wrong things about money,
yeah,
you know, it shackles us down to where we literally are constrained and we can't get to where we need to get to.
Yeah.
Like, what are you seeing around money mindset and around what people believe and what they should believe?
Yeah, the biggest thing is actually, it comes from a deep-seated religious belief that money is evil. And there's a scripture that says the love of money is the root of all evil. And people just choose to leave out the word love, and then they say, shorten it to the money is evil. And money is just stored energy. It is literally just stored energy, and we are meant to use that stored energy, in my eyes, to create more good and more God on this planet Earth. And so what do I mean by stored energy? If you had 100 apples, right, and I had a cow, all right, back in the day, and you wanted and you wanted a portion of my cow, right? Let's say you wanted 25% of my cow, and I said, okay, give me 25 apples. You'd be like, I don't want that right now. So then what we create an IOU, right? I get my apples now, but you don't want this cow right now. And so that piece of paper now becomes money. And that piece of paper represents all the energy and the time and the effort that I put in to grow those 25 apples that I can now use for later. So when you look at money as just energy, there's a couple things that come up. First and foremost, energy always moves. Money is called currency because it's supposed to circulate. But we've been taught and programmed to put money in a piggy bank, right? Scripture says, do not give your pearls to swine. But what do? We give our money to the banks.
And there's no way you can build wealth by saving money.
It's impossible with these interest rates. In Bank of America savings account right now is 0.03% interest. So if you use a rule of 72 divided by 0.03 means that it'll take you 2,400 years to double your money in a savings account. 2,400.
And that's before inflation. I mean, that doesn't rule in.
That doesn't even account for inflation. So with a multifamily real estate investment, the minimum cash on cash return that we're looking for is 12%. 72 divided by 12 means that your money is doubling every 6 years, in addition to all the tax benefits, the appreciation, you living for free, etc. So we've been taught to go chase the highest paying job, right? We're paper chasing, but many people don't know that cash is the lowest yielding asset in the entire world. It's only yielding 0.03% in your bank account. And on top of that, with inflation, it is losing value every time you don't use it. So the winner of the game is not the person who accumulates the most money. It's the person who circulates the most money into assets, to real assets. People happily give up their money every single day because they know it's not valuable. People are shopping on Amazon right now. They just got paid today and they're shopping on Amazon right now. People are always looking for ways because they know that this piece of paper is inherently not valuable. You cannot eat it. You cannot drink it. You cannot keep yourself warm with it. You know you have to exchange it for something more valuable in order to enjoy your life. And so we don't just exchange. We never spend money, right? When you spend money, you end money. We want to invest money into ideals, ideas, individuals, institutions, right? And investments that we believe are going to return that money, right? When something circulates, it returns to point of origin. And so when I release money, I release it, and in God I trust. And then when it comes back to me, in God I trust it. But some people have made money their God, right? It says in God we trust. Some people have made money their God, and so they hoard it. And that's really a scarcity mindset, right? You actually want to circulate it. And I found the more money I circulate, the more money that circulates back to me. It's just like law.
Now, I know somebody's listening and thinking, Well, normally I would do that, but I'm hearing, we're coming out of pandemic, and I'm hearing there may be a recession.
Yeah.
And like, should they think differently? Because hey, potentially a recession is coming. So I'm not hoarding it. I'm just protecting it in case of a recession.
Great
or
point.
still a recession, should they be out there looking for opportunities and things along that line?
What happens to prices during the midst of a recession?
They go up.
In inflation, they do. And we are dealing with inflation, but in recession, things go down, right? And so the economy is going down. So that means that things are going to be at a discount. We see that with the stock market right now. Stock market is dropping like crazy right now. That means that things are now at a discount. So let me be very careful, and I'm glad you asked that question. Once you've established your emergency fund,
okay,
right? Your emergency fund, based on your risk tolerance, should be 3 months of expenses, 6 months of expenses, or 12 months of expenses, right? Based on your risk tolerance. I'm okay with operating at 3 months of expenses. I know that I can get back on my feet in 90 days because of the knowledge that's in my head, right? But for somebody else, that might be, I need to have 12 months. Now, if you need 12 months of emergency fund and your cost of living is $5,000 a month, you have to save up $60,000. That's $60,000 that's not working because you have it stored. It's actually losing value due to inflation, and you're not earning anything in terms of interest. But if that's what you need based on your risk tolerance, be honest about that. Stack your emergency fund. Now, anything above that $60,000, it needs to be in motion. You need to be making those dead presidents work for you, right? And so we are always looking for opportunities. In the midst of a recession, I know that people are going to get foreclosed on. Right? Now, I do not pray for that. I do not wish that on anybody. But if I can relieve somebody of a debt that they have because they no longer have the income to support it, then I can actually go get an asset at a discount, right? And take control of that particular property. So emergency fund first, but beyond that, you want everything that you can in circulation. In fact, on this journey to wealth, people who have cash cow businesses and are generating enough income, they'll find that it sounds crazy. They're going to have difficulty finding ways to use the cash. I know for some people that just sounds far-fetched. Like, I always find, no, once you have enhanced your cash basis, right? Your responsibility, one, was to make the cash, right? To make the money. But then the second responsibility that most people fail at is making the money then work for them.
Correct.
My employees are Washington, Franklin, Hamilton. Those are my employees. But a lot of people, their employees are just lazy, just sitting there in a bank account doing nothing. Your responsibility is to make them work. And so there's many different asset classes. I encourage people to identify one or master one asset class. For me, I chose multifamily real estate, and then a second master asset class as to diversify. Right now in this social media era, people are like, oh yeah, you should go get a truck, then you should go get a multifamily home, then you should have a Turo car, then you should do this, and then you should do this, and then you should do this. And what you'll find is that your energy is split and that you have no control over your investments. You are supposed to be a steward of your money. And when you get scattered in that way, there's no way that you can master all of those. The reason those people are winning is because that is their full-time lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right? And so please do not compare your results to somebody who does that full time, right? So I encourage people to identify one or two asset classes that they're going to depend on, and not get too scattered when it comes to deploying the rest of their money after their emergency fund.
That's good. I talk about that with entrepreneurs a lot of times. I call it fraction focus, because as entrepreneurs are creatives, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
So they always have all these different ideas.
Yep.
And then I tell them the hardest thing is once they make money, because once they make money, it's easy to go and make more. So then, like I say, hey, the hardest part for many people getting to a 7-figure business is because they got too many 6-figure businesses. And they create a 6-figure business.
Yep.
And then they say, now I got the form, they go make another one. But like you said, because their focus is fractured across all these different businesses, they can't devote the time to one to really build it up the way it should go.
Yeah.
And then the same time that they're going through this and they're struggling with this internally, everybody from the outside is talking about multiple streams of income. You need multiple streams.
Yeah.
But what I've been calling is multiple streams of struggle. Because really, none of the streams can really amount to enough.
Oh my goodness.
So that, they can sustain me.
Right.
So
right.
that, I can start working, like you said, my employees get off the bench and start working for me.
Yeah.
But instead, like now I'm trying to manage all these different things and doing none of it well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually easier. Like even the sun's energy, right? Dispersed energy is weaker than focused energy. So the sun's energy is dispersed. This is why it doesn't burn us. But a laser, right, could actually pierce right through you because it's focused energy. And so when it comes to streams, you don't need multiple streams. You actually need a Nile River. You need a Nile River. And then from that Nile River, there's outlets that channel this energy, this currency to other aspects, but you actually need a Nile River. That's going to be the best. When you look at Elon Musk, when you look at the world's wealth of these people, they have a Nile River, and then their secondary or tertiary asset classes are these other things. But they had a Nile River first. They weren't trying to do all at the same time. Even if we go to Jay-Z, Jay-Z's Nile River was Rockefeller Records. Then it became Rockaware, Spotted Pig, 4040 Club, Tidal, etc. But his initial Nile River was Rockaware. If he would have tried to start all of those things at the same exact time, he would have failed.
And he mastered that initially.
Yes.
Not only did he master it, he not just mastered the music, he mastered the business, he mastered the relationships.
Exactly.
So then all of that, by having the expertise, the relationships, the capital now, made it exponentially easy to do those different things down the line.
100%. And so for many people, what people fail to realize is that success is boring.
Wow. Talk about it.
Right? To master something, to do 1,000 layups, that can get boring, right? You're going to get good at it and you're going to start making 100% of them, but that can be boring. And so at that stage, you have to go into depth, right? And this is where your creativity actually has to come in. Your creativity should not go to another idea. It should go to, how do I get more creative about what I'm doing? So for instance, when you look at old NBA videos, how do they used to dribble? They used to dribble like this with one hand. They weren't even using both hands. They weren't going between the legs. There was no turnarounds. So somebody got bored with this form of dribbling and said, I'm going to get more creative with how I can move this ball as long as it's within the guidelines or the rules of this game. And so now you see amazing plays, but what they were doing in the past, it was the same game, same exact rules. But somebody said this way of playing is boring. So in the same way, as you get more and more successful, because you're running the same play over and over and over, you're doing the same layup over and over and over, you have to get creative. Like, okay, how do I do an under the rim layup? How do I do a hook shot? How do I get more creative and deeper into what I'm doing? What I've seen with you and TSP is you've gotten deeper and deeper and deeper. You're always adding a new component here and there, but you're not going and creating something brand new. You're just pouring that creativity back into the original idea. And that's where the fun is, and that's where the expansion actually comes. And really, creativity, when you pair an existing idea with a new idea, that's where emergence occurs. And that's where, and when you see something new emerge because of you pairing an idea that you got from the food industry into TSP, or an idea that you got from the tech industry into TSP, all of a sudden, like, it gets exciting again because you're seeing new emergence and new growth, but it's all within the same Nile. It's all being sourced by the same Nile River.